around the world on these seminars, on these webinars, I should say, and people wanting to hear more, so we put this one in as an extra. It's going to be a very quick one today. We're going to work through the hour, and I hope we can get in the time for some questions at the end. I have a call to go on immediately after this, a follow-up with this program for people that want to know more about this. We have a neurologically based chiropractic call series where we discuss some of the findings with the instrumentation and what it means in practice and the latest research and so on, and that's going to be starting right through at 1:30, so my time. So we need to be on target with this. So we're going to move along at a fairly good rate. One of the frustrations I had in the years, and my major frustration of my years in practice was always my walk never felt like it matched my heart talk about chiropractic and being focused on the nervous system. And I had to talk about the spine and the bones and the pressure on the nerves when I really didn't want to be talking about that. I wanted to be talking about the nervous system. And that led me down a path over my many years of experience that ended in some very interesting places, and it developed the concept of neurologically based chiropractic that I founded back in 1999 with a program called Chiropractic Equity Offices. That program was a practice systems program based on neurologically based chiropractic, but we ended up with the same challenges that chiropractic has ended up with from the beginning, which was how do we prove that we alter the central nervous system function. So today we're going to take some steps and walk through those whole concepts, and really it's nothing new because it's what the organizers of this wonderful profession started with years ago. It's just somehow we lost track. I love starting it with this slide, and what I want everyone to do is take a look at this and tell me what you see on your first view of this. When I use this in lecture halls, I always get black camels. Well, the actual fact is that the camels aren't black. So this becomes a question of deception or perception of what you see here. And this is going to apply to what we're going to be talking about in the near future. If you look closely at this, you'll see that the camels are actually light brown, and they're at the feet of the black camels. The black camels are not the actual camel. They're just a shadow reflection of across the sand with the low angle of the sun. Now, if you were presenting this slide, this picture, and you told everybody it was about black camels when you knew it wasn't, it would be deception. But because of when we look at this and we just sort of view this as what it is, we see it as the black camels, which is a perspective challenge that we have here. This is going to come into play here. So here's what's going to bring this all together. When we look at chiropractic and what our message has been over the last 50 to 80 years about chiropractic, it has created a public opinion of who we are and what we do. And when we look at Wikipedia, this is what we see that the public perceives chiropractic as because of our message. And that's what it says. Chiropractic is a healthcare profession, well, hooray for that, whose purpose is to diagnose and treat mechanical disorders of the spine. That's it. I mean, to me, that just makes every hair that's left on my head stand up straight, because it's not diagnosis and treatment, which is the practice of medicine to start with, and we don't practice medicine. And we're limited on this perception here to mechanical disorders of the spine. That's all we have to offer. And it very nicely then adds with the intention of affecting the nervous system, improving health. But because we have never had the proof that we've needed to stand up and be able to say what chiropractic really does, we've had to focus on mechanical disorders of the spine, and then we've been forced into the role of diagnosis because of billing on insurance claims. So we've sort of become this quasi-medical group that deals with mechanical disorders of the spine. Not a good move. It's away from the real model and into the medical model, and it's a real problem. Now, there's a law in business that says you're going to get a diminishing return on your investment as the market becomes saturated. And why that's so important as being applied to chiropractic is if this is, in fact, what's happened to us, we have limited our perspective of who we are in chiropractic to mechanical disorders. Well, everybody else has moved into that field, and we have, spinal manipulative therapy, decompression, exercise therapy, physical medicine, physical therapy, doctors of physical therapy, massage therapy, back pain centers, TENS unit, surgery, laser therapy, metatonic. If you want to look up about back pain and mechanical disorders of the spine, and you will see that it is an area that is now overwhelmed with people in this field. So it's sort of like this. You know, it's this diminishing return as the market became saturated. The market in that particular model of healthcare is super saturated, and it's one of the reasons that we're getting a diminishing return. Not only have we restricted what we bring to the table by restricting our scope of practice, but also we've gone into an area now that everybody else has come into play. And so if you look very carefully at this picture, you'll see that little group right there. That's chiropractic. And we wonder what's happened to our beautiful profession. And it's our fault. It's our message in our restrictions of who we are and what we bring to the table that's created the problem. Well, what is it that we bring to the table? Well, basically it's this. We continue to talk about vertebral subluxation. And vertebral subluxation, there's this concept that vertebral subluxation is chiropractic. And if we talk about anything outside of vertebral subluxation or vertebral subluxation complex, we're no longer talking about chiropractic. I hold that that's wrong. So here's what they say, vertebral misalignment or dyskinesia, which means abnormal motion, that leads to nerve impingement on that wonderful nerve root, and that creates dysautonomia within the nervous system, and that creates nerve interference or dyskinesis in the central nervous system. And that's the model that we've been working with for the last 50 to 80 years, if not longer than that. And that's what's really led to us being focused on a much narrower field in chiropractic. Well, the question always comes down, where's the proof? You know, it's like that old commercial, where's the meat? Well, where is it? Well, we've been defending this, and it's sort of like this guy here. I mean, this thing has been shot so full of holes so many times, there's not much left to defend. And so all we can come down to is what we can sort of see, and that left us in that area of spinal mechanics and joint play. And so here we are sitting there defending this profession that we need to take a look around and say, you know what, maybe this isn't a good place to be sitting. Maybe we need to take a look at chiropractic from a different angle and find out what the heck we're doing instead of just sitting there getting shot at all the time. And this is the concept that through my years, my 32 years of practice, always weighed heavy on me. It was like I really need to be able to explain chiropractic better than this bones out of place pressing on the nerve when I knew that we hadn't been able to prove that that's what was going on. It wasn't the explanation that I needed to have to be able to explain why chiropractic worked these incredible miracles that I was seeing in my practice, and why people that were doing light touch techniques got the same kind of miracle results that I did. There was something else that was going on, and so not being able to explain that sort of weighed heavy on me, and it felt like this. This is the burden that I felt like I was carrying with chiropractic, not being able to understand it. So it was a heavy weight, and I wanted to move past this.